And we're joined now by Mayor Jeff Reinert, candidate for County Board District 6. Nice to see you.
Hey, nice to see you.
And you've been mayor, you've been on city council for what, going on 20 years?
Yeah, 20 years. I was on city boards before that and involved. But yeah, 10 years I did on the city council, and I was, fine in that position. But then when the bad economy hit, the mayor that we had in there, I really like him, John Bergeson. We got along great. He was actually the mayor for all the time that I was in there. We live on the same lake, get along good. But we had a disagreement about, fundamentally how to handle the bad economy. And so we had, the way that I run my business is, you basically are going to provide the right amount of resources for the amount of activity that you have. Government sometimes likes to have resources up here, even though the activity is here, and no matter what happens here, they just kind of keep it the same. When we knew that it was going to last for a while, then we just had to do something. And John and I disagreed. I said, well, I'm going to run for mayor, and I won. And the first thing that I did when we got in there is we did an overall assessment of City Hall and the resources we had. And we ended up cutting taxes by $1.3 million, which at the time was about 15% of the budget.
Wow.
And now those savings were seen year after year after year. And then when some of the activity came back, we started putting some of those resources back in. And I just thought that that's just the way it needed to be. You just can't spend people's tax dollars just frivolously. So
it's that experience that propels you now to not run for mayor, but run for this seat on the county board. Is it that experience and others that you feel like is what is leading you to do that, and what can lead you into that seat to be effective?
Yeah, Rhonda Severaja was in there. I thought she did a fair job. I see that there's a lot of opportunity though on the for Anoka County and saving dollars not only for the District 6 but everybody. And so when she decided to move on, we just really need to have somebody in there that has some experience. I mean, I know a lot of people running have never served office. That doesn't really make sense. We need to have somebody that knows the area. We have somebody running that has only lived in the area 3 months. And so you need to, to represent people, you need to know who they are, where they are, and what they want. And you should have experience on, what to do. And so it's not any kind of frivolous job. I mean, you've got $300 million budget, 2,000 employees. It's the 4th largest county in the state.
Right.
We should probably put someone there that knows what to do with that.
Okay.
So yes, that's why I'm running. It was a tough decision to leave mayor. I love being mayor. But also I want to see somebody in that chair that's going to do a good job. So.
And can work for all of District 6. What is it about the district that you think is unique, and what characteristics of that, and representing that, and having the knowledge, having lived in Lino Lakes as long as you have, and served in Lino Lakes.
44 years, yeah.
But also the partnerships that has entailed, and working with all the other communities in the district, which neighbor Lino Lakes. Is there something about the district that you can help highlight or continue to support in a role like the county board?
Yeah, so, District 6, I mean, you've got Linwood, you got Columbus and Lino Lakes, Circle Pines, Centerville, Lexington, part of Blaine. So people in our area, kind of like their elbow room. They like higher quality, lower densities and stuff. So it's a little bit different than, maybe represent, maybe Hennepin County or Ramsey or something like that, where there's higher densities and they're fine with that. So understanding what the people want, you're going to be more apt to be able to deliver that.
An opportunity may present itself for the district in terms of the Minnesota Tech Corridor, the county partnering with Washington County to develop those 1,000 acres. Obviously, as mayor, you've been involved in that process too with the city of Lino Lakes. What kind of opportunity does that development or potential development present for the district and for the county as a whole?
Yeah, so as, for Lino Lakes, I mean, specifically, we were looking. I mean, we're kind of a bedroom community. We've got some nice businesses there that are good amenities for the residents, but we have been looking for the right kind of commercial development. Commercial taxes at about twice the level of residential, and so it's usually looked at as let's diversify our tax base and get it more commercial. But sometimes commercial comes in, it ends up costing in services more than the taxes you collect, and so it doesn't end up being a good deal. So we were looking for the right kind of development that's high value, low impact. And about 4 years ago, I started talking with Michael Gershall about this, and we started looking at tech corridors and, data centers and things like this. And, it's really the right kind of development for Lino Lakes. We're the right climate. I mean, because, data centers and such, they like to, or they put off a lot of heat. And so, in our area, there's probably, I think it's like 90, 91 days of the year that you actually have to cool. And so it's perfect for them and good for us, and it seemed like the right kind of situation. I get along great with Tom White over in Hugo. In fact, he's endorsed my candidacy, and others, other cities around our area. And we just work well with them, and we've put together this thing, and now 4 years later, we've launched the North Metro Tech Corridor, I believe is the name of it. We've got partners in Anoka County and all the cities and the state and the power companies, and so we're all kind of on board and moving forward. Now we've put together some marketing, and we are seeing some things happening now that actually I can't talk about. But
okay, yeah, sure.
It's going to be very good.
And in the process of this race and gearing up for this primary election coming up, is it involved a process of you maybe forging some relationships outside of Lino Lakes that weren't part of being mayor and being on council and on the boards for all those years in the other parts of District 6? Has that been a process for you, and maybe what have you learned in doing that?
Well, actually, I've reached out and been asked to participate on different committees outside of being mayor. Once you're in there a long time and they see what you're doing, and if you're doing okay, then they probably want you to join their committee too and participate. There's like with the Met Council, we had the 7-county metro area, and there was 4 of the counties that participated, a lot of the commissioners. There were many mayors that were invited on board to try to change the governance of the Met Council. I think there's 50 some similar type organizations like the Met Council in the country that do the same thing for different cities, sewer and water and such. Ours is a little bit more overreaching than that. But we have the only one where every single member is not an elected official. It's the only one. And so basically we put together, took about 1.5 years and a lot of meetings with this group, and we put together a bill to be carried in the House that would then change the governance of the Met Council and the makeup of the Met Council. As you know, it's appointed. Everyone is appointed by the governor, right. And so when there's a party change, I mean, they're wiped out and all that historical knowledge is gone, and now you bring in a bunch of new people and they have to relearn. It's just a ridiculous program. Now, we knew that this one would not pass, would not go anywhere, but what we did is we did the groundwork, we put it together. Now it's a bill ready to go for the right political environment to be able to get that through and make a change. There needs to be a change. The Met Council and the way that governance is right now is ridiculous.
So in working on those levels, you think helps give you more experience, but maybe particular skills or particular knowledge of those workings that could serve you in Anoka should you make it to the board and be able to represent District 6?
Yeah, running your own business, and you basically can make whatever call you want. When you serve as a councilor in a mayor position, or a lot of these different committees and stuff, you learn how to work with other people because you don't have that command situation. And over the years, and I've been elected now in public office for 20 years. I've owned my own business for over 35. You learn to just ask a lot of questions, put everything on the table, try to seek as much input as you can, and then from that, make common sense statements about what's going on. You convince that way, and then you make decisions based on, as a collective and, everyone together. Of course, you do try to push it in your direction as best you can, but the only way that you can do that is by defending your point of view. I mean, you can't push it in a direction and then not have a good argument. And so, my challenge would always be to come up with that good argument.
Are there any challenges to representing the whole district on a county level that you see that you can maybe identify now and know how you would approach should you win this election? Yeah,
there's actually a lot of things I want to do. One thing I'll get out of the way right away, and that is, I see a little bit of dysfunction going on with some of the decisions that are being made. And as an example of that, you look at what happened last summer with Chamonix Golf.
Right.
I mean, my God, this thing has been around for 50 years. I used to golf this thing when it was 9 holes when I was 15 years old. And so I've seen it develop over the last 40 years. and millions and millions and millions of dollars spent developing it, evolving. I mean, and right now it is a top-notch golf facility. And so, while they were in the process of spending even more money, hundreds of thousands of dollars renovating it, and they didn't probably do it right, they shut down a hole on each side for over 2 years. And so there wasn't even a 9-hole that you could play. What that did, I mean, because it's typically profitable, but what that did is caused it to be unprofitable for a few years, and because they're renovating and spending more money. And so the board got into an argument about where to cut, and somebody said, well, that's not making money, let's shut it down. And I can't even believe that some of the commissioners agreed to that. Not everyone was on board with that, but they were talking about shutting this thing down, and they were serious about it until myself and a lot of residents, showed up in Anoka, and then they said, wow,
yeah.
and decided to not do that. But, if your decision-making process is knee-jerk like that, and if you're not thinking through the entire matter that you're deciding on, what other decisions are being made that way that might be bad? And so, I see there's a little dysfunction in there, and because of my experience on serving on different boards and just the way that I approach problem solving, I think that I'd be a help there.
There is a changing face of the board, as is the nature of politics.
Yeah.
People retire. Rhonda was moved to a different position, or has moved to a different position. Mandy Meisner is now there. That's a new face. There's another new face coming with this election. So, again, more opportunities for possible change in regard to what you just discussed in terms of those decisions, maybe?
Oh, absolutely. I do want to bring up one thing that kind of a big topic, healthcare. And this is one thing that I hope to work with everyone on, including Rhonda, when I get there. But as a mayor of a small town and you have 75 employees, you can't really jump out and do something independent on healthcare. You have to kind of ride someone else's coattail. But it's something that's bothered me for a long time, because we've had years where we've had 29% increases in healthcare from year to year. Now, who's paying for that? Well, the city's paying for it. No. Every taxpayer is paying for that. I mean, it's coming out of our pockets, all these increases, and you've got these insurance companies and brokers that are just getting wealthy, and the services are going down. So I've been getting some counseling from a good friend of mine who I've watched. He's been in charge of Twin City pipe trades for close to 30 years, if not 30 years. And about a decade ago, he got sick of it too. And this is a union, entity. And so he came out and he was thinking outside the box, and he put together a self-insurance program. And now what they're doing is they have self-insured for about 8 years now. They're providing their own health care. It's better. I toured their facility. It's unbelievable. It's kind of all in one. If you go in there and you have a cold, but your back is hurt, you can go into physical therapy, and someone can bring you over here. You could get a pair of glasses while you're there. It's not another appointment. It's not another copay. In fact, they don't have any copays. They did an analysis on copay. It costs more to process a copay than it does to just take the copay. And I mean, everybody agrees, copay, a little skin in the game. But if it's costing more to process the copay than it is the dollars you're getting for the copay, you shouldn't be doing it, because that's a waste of money.
That's a big idea to bring to a county level.
Well, but I'll tell you what, they have 5,000 members, and this is, you can only go by result. Now, if you take a 10% increase, it takes 7 years to double, okay? Lino Lakes has, on average, increased at 9% a year. That means in a 10-year period, we surely have doubled the cost of our insurance. Over the last 8 years that thing has been in existence, they have had zero increase. Zero increase. And they've skyrocketed the level of service that they're providing. And I'd love to spend the next half hour talking about that. But I'll tell you what, that's something we need to look at. There's only 2,000 employees in Anoka County, but you can do this same kind of program with as little as 1,000 people. The upside for all the cities is if I can convince Anoka County to go after this, first of all the taxpayers are going to be saving tons of dollars on these increases year after year. But once in place, then we can ask all 21 cities to then also participate in the program that Anoka County has.
Okay.
And it might be a great model then to spread out to the other counties. But I believe in the program, and I'm going to invite all the commissioners down to tour Twin City Pipe Trades facility, because I think they'll be impressed.
We're going to wrap it up. I'm going to give you
Oh, okay.
a 10-second, 15-second answer on this. 20 years down the line is District 6. What does it look like in your mind 20 years from now?
That depends entirely on who's elected, doesn't it? I think you just need to look at the candidates that are running, you know, how long they've lived in the area, how well they know the area, how much experience they have, you know, what their objectives are. I mean, I've had a lot more things. I wish we had another half hour. I'd keep talking about the things I'd like to do and improvements I can make.
Okay.
But the important thing is who you have in office, because not everyone that gets elected belongs there.
Okay.
A lot of people just warm a seat while they're there. So
Okay.
I hope that over the last 20 years that I've gained the respect and support of the residents of Lino Lakes. They're the ones I've been serving, and I hope that I can gain the trust of the people in the other cities to represent them.
Okay. We'll leave that as the last word. Jeff Reinert, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.